My name is Chris Vickers. I've been investigating the paranormal for 3 years.
My name is George Franco Mihalos. I've been investigating in the paranormal field now for about 5 years.
My name is Ryan Fessler, and I have been investigating the paranormal for approximately 4 years.
My name is Carolyn Braband, and I've been a paranormal investigator for about 3 years.
My name is Brian Karppinen, and I've been investigating the paranormal for 3 years.
My name is Phil McCarty. I've been investigating for just about under a year.
Being a paranormal investigator means to me is finding the truth.
I don't do this for fame, I don't do this for money, I do this to help others.
That word, paranormal investigator, means responsibility.
It means putting the client first and being able to establish whether a spirit is actually in their homes or not.
Being a paranormal investigator means to me going out and helping someone who needs help that doesn't have explained answers.
My top 3 favorite places to investigate: number 1, Gettysburg, PA; number 2, Sac to Coast Manor, Long Island; number 3, Mount Misery.
My top 3 places that I've investigated would be number 1, Bobby Mackey's, Wilder, Kentucky; number 2, Mount Misery Road in Long Island, New York; and number 3, Kings Park Psych Center.
Top 3 favorite places to investigate would have to be the Fire Island Lighthouse, Kings Park Psych Center, and Sagato's Manor, all located on Long Island.
The best piece of evidence I've gotten has to be at Burlington Prison.
He had a strobe light set up outside the room.
I started to recreate if a prisoner were to get hurt.
And he said, "Guard, guard, help us, we're down."
All of a sudden, the strobe light kicks on, starts going off by itself.
No one was near it, and it happened several times throughout the night.
They turned into just like balls of energy and shot across the ceiling.
Look up, I see a black figure come down the stairwell in the hallway.
Couldn't really tell what it was, but it definitely wasn't there at the time.
My favorite piece of equipment would be any Geiger counter.
The audio recorder.
The air ion counter.
I think I'm both scientific and spiritual.
Definitely more on the scientific side.
I'm going to have to consider myself more of a spiritual investigator.
Always try to take a scientific approach. It takes a lot for me to be convinced of anything.
I use my equipment and I stick to my equipment, but you also go off your intuition. If you're feeling something, roll with it.
Hey, what up? It's Cyrus from We Found Glory. I want to say what up to Chris and Shadows of the Paranormal. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Bobby Mackey, and I'd certainly like to welcome my friends here from Long Island, the SOB group.
Hi, this is Aaron Houdini, and I'm here with Shadows of the Paranormal at Bobby Mackey's Music World. I want to give Shadows a big shout out.
What's going on, everybody? This is Misguided Souls with Shadows of the Paranormal. Tonight it's me,
Ryan,
Carolyn,
Philip, and we're over hanging out at Katie's Bar in Smithtown.
we have a special show for you tonight.
Yes. Right now, our guest is just eating some dinner before he joins us, Mr. Brian. And, we're pretty excited. We have a lot of stuff going on this week, and it's going to be an awesome week for us. We're leaving early Thursday morning. We're going to be going up to Syracuse,
Yes.
which is a big horror paranormal convention upstate in Syracuse. There's going to be the first Jason's going to be there. The first Michael Myers is going to be there. The Night of the Living, the first Chris Vickers. The Night of the Living Dead, one of the main actresses, she's going to be there. Judith O'Day. Sal Lizard, who was like the Christmas vampire. He actually sent me a message today, and we're going to be interviewing him there. Steve, Tango, Jason from Taps, Britt Griffith, and a whole bunch of other people are going to be down there. So it's going to be a great time.
That looks like a hell of a location too. Because funny story is, and it's at the Turning Stone Resort and Casino. Funny story is, last night, I'm big into boxing. I'm watching a boxing match, and these guys are fighting. And a venue pops up and says, Turning Stone Resort and Casino. I'm like, oh, I'm going to be there. It was just funny.
It's these things that that happen like that make us think that there's no coincidences. It's definitely cool. Can't wait for that. So we'll be returning home Sunday. And we're going to try and leave nice and early Sunday morning because there's an awesome benefit, which is actually going to be held at Katie's Bar where we are. There's another fellow group from Long Island, which is LIPRI, Long Island Paranormal Research and Investigations. Yes, Thelma. She's in the chat room.
I had to say hi.
We recently became good friends with them, and Thelma has a family member who was diagnosed with cancer, and there's going to be a benefit on Sunday, September 16th, 2 days before my birthday, and it's at 3 p.m. and it's going to be pretty cool. There's a lot of people that are attending this. There are going to be raffles, there's donations, baked good giveaways, auctions, a whole bunch of other things, and all the proceeds are going to help the family with some medical bills and expenses. So, if you guys do get a chance, please stop down, show your support, just hang out. We were actually donating a basket too, so there's going to be, it's going to go to one of the raffles.
Yeah, so if anyone wants to come down that night, and the basket's got some really awesome goodies in it, and you can also have a chance to investigate with us one night, whenever night of your choice. We will get together, and I think it's just an awesome event. It's great to share all that stuff too.
The thing about it is, and I had this conversation last night with Thelma, was, we're both of our teams are in it for the right reasons. I love going to a case and capturing a great EVP or an awesome personal experience, but that's not why we're in the field. We're in this field to help people. So that's the biggest thing for us. So especially someone in our own backyard on Long Island, someone that needs help is great benefit on Long Island. Why not? So if you guys are interested, there's going to be raffles going on as well. You guys can purchase tickets, and included in our donation, amongst others, but ours is we have a microphone for your digital audio recorder for capturing those awesome EVPs. Woo-hoo! We have a Phil Cardi one of 20 IR light, which works with your handheld video cameras if you have like a night vision on there. And this is an external IR to illuminate the area for when you're investigating. An SLP t-shirt. There's a sexy autograph by this guy Chris Vickers. He was featured on Bio Channel's My Ghost Story and Travel Channel's Most Terrifying Places in America. Some bumper stickers and stuff like that. And like Carolyn said, is when whoever wins this also gets, for them and one of their buddies, an investigation with SOP of a Long Island, historic Long Island location. Yep. So it can, it could be one that we're actually going on that's a location, say, investigating Katie's Bar. It could be, going to a few urban legends on Long Island. So we don't know. So, donate, even if you guys can't make it down. Another thing that would be awesome is go to our Facebook. We're going to be posting a link on there on our actual website, www.shadowsoftheparanormal.com. Go right on our website, and as soon as you go onto that homepage, there's a link for this benefit that we put on there. Yep. Right up front, we're talking about it. It's in the headlines, updates. These are the things that, people preach paranormal unity and this and that, paranormal mafia, whatever you want to call it. But this is true. This is true right here. So
it's real.
Exactly.
It's real.
So anyway, right now,
I'm very excited for the show tonight.
Yes,
this is going to be a good one.
Yes.
We're at Katie's Bar right now, and for those who aren't familiar, it's at 145 West Main Street in Smithtown. GPS that shit. This bar is known for some activity. It really is.
Yeah.
I've been coming here for years and years and years before I even was interested in the paranormal field. When I just loved hardcore bands, they used to play hardcore shows right here. Yeah. And I used to come down here, and the owner Brian has put his sweat, blood, tears, and heart and soul into rebuilding this place and making it an immaculate bar. And it's gorgeous. He's got so many cameras set up here, closed circuit TV cameras, and he's gotten so many different apparitions and some poltergeist activity. And one of the crazy things is, yes, I know, a lot of people, especially same with us as well, we got to look at it through the scientific perspective. Yes, we are right behind a train station. But there are also some things that I can't debunk.
Yeah.
And, we've spent some time here. We will be spending some more time here, obviously, but wine glasses getting thrown from the wall. They're not just falling. So even if it were a train or condensation from, the dishwasher or something like that, these glasses are getting thrown 3, 4, 5, 6 feet. It's not just falling. Brian was actually leaning on the bar one day on the customer side, and the soda gun just lifted up, stood straight up for a few seconds, and then just dropped. And all these videos, they're online, they're on YouTube. If you go to Katie's of Smithtown, there's links. Type Katie's Bar in Smithtown in, and HauntedEarthGhostVideos.com. They have a lot, and they have a few videos, and it's pretty awesome that for someone who was just looking at security-wise had picked up all these different things.
Yeah.
So
I remember one of our first investigations as SOP. We came here.
Yes, we did.
Yes.
And I mean, that investigation blew my mind because we were just hanging out. We just came in here to be like, yeah, it's one of our first, investigations as this new group, and I'm so excited. I was more excited about the actual investigation than even getting anything. And then that night, I mean, we had the flashlight. We had set up a flashlight that would go on and off by itself. Like even Ryan, you did an excellent EVP session.
Yeah, it was a good night.
It wasn't even going off for at least the first 5 minutes.
Yeah,
and then all of a sudden it was boom, boom, like it started happening. And then I got an EVP. When I listened back, how every paranormal investigator tags their audio as soon as they, hi, this is Carolyn, I'm at Katie's Bar. It's, you say the date, you say the time, you tag your evidence, and then all of a sudden I hear a whisper saying hello to me, as if like it was introducing himself to me or whatever. So I thought that was pretty cool. Was not expecting that within the first 3 minutes of my audio, but
that was quick. Yeah, it was really fast.
It was, it was.
Then also, when we were down there, I guess where they keep all the kegs, we kept seeing someone's foot go in front of the light.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Somewhere at the door, you see it, and that was pretty weird because Chris pointed it out, and I kind of saw something, but then we realized no one was there.
Yeah,
it's kind of
so
weird.
This place has a lot of history, and again, as like Chris said, you try to debunk things. You're like, well, there is a train station right next door. What if the flashlight was going on and off because of the vibrations on the floor? But then, we go through our methods, and I remember even like jumping up and down on the floor next to the flashlight to try and get it to go off, and it just wouldn't. As hard as I jumped, it was just. So like it's cool, like we can't be definite, but then if you go on their website too, which is katiesofsmithtown.com, they have a Ghost of Katie's Greatest Hits, which I just watched that soda gun thing that you were talking about, Chris, before, and let me tell you, that's pretty creepy. I don't think anyone could stage that,
No, it's with anything, any location. You try to go in as unbiased as you can and see what comes at you. The same thing here. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of theories that could be used to try to figure things out, but in the end, it's a good thing when you do catch or see things happening, things flying around, hearing things, because it does play a role in the overall goal of figuring out how this stuff is happening. And not to say an EVP is the end-all be-all, but it's definitely a good start. So it's nice to be at a place where we can find things that will lead to an ultimate answer to things. And the whole goal, I think, is while we love to help people and whatnot, but the first thing I think though that any group needs to know is that you need to know the answers in order to give people closure on most things, and I think this is a very good place to start. That's for sure.
And that was one thing that was interesting was you have a team like PRS. They had their show Paranormal State, and they take, you know, the biggest claims that they get and this, that, and the other thing, and they have so many claims that they get throughout the course of the year. And this place had, you got to put it in perspective, where Paranormal State had just started airing back in 2007. Their 9th episode was called Beer, Wine, and Spirits. And they came to Smithtown, Long Island to investigate this bar. It was their 9th episode. I mean, since then, that group has grown huge. But it's just interesting that, you know, a local bar that we grew up around has had so much effect and has been on, you know, national television and has been aired so many times. It's in the box sets. You guys can check it out. It's called Beer, Wine, and Spirits. It originally aired January of 2008, and that's well before I'd gotten into the paranormal field. But I remember watching that bar and being like, hey, you know what? I actually went to that place and, you know, was watching shows there and, you know, seeing a bunch of great bands play. So, but what's up, Brian?
What's up, man?
What's in?
Have a seat.
Good to go. How cool is this microphone?
I know, right?
It's
amazing. Guys, we have Brian, the owner of Katie's Bar in Smithtown here.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Thanks
sitting in on
us
us.
here today, too.
Oh, anytime. You guys are always welcome here.
Thank you. I appreciate it. We were just going over the Hope Matters benefit for Thelma and Lipri, and how it's, you know, a great cause, and how it's awesome that, you know, they can come together in a local place that we all have an attachment to, and, you know, basically how you would open your doors and you know, help everyone out and have such a great event here, and, you know, hopefully get some money raised for it.
Well, we're open to charities all the time. We just did 2 big charities this weekend. We did one for a customer of ours, Dennis, who was in a coma, came out of the coma, to help him with his rehabilitation, and for animals, almost home rescue. So all kinds of charity events. So we're also doing something for Ryan Buell in October. We're doing a walk for him. It's not mine, it's my friend Renee's, but we're going to help out with that too. So we're always open to charities.
That's great. And, you know, it's something now. It's awesome to see how people are paying it forward and, you know, giving back and just helping people out, because that's, you know, what we're all about. We're not about, you know, all collecting all the evidence and this and that. It's just about trying to help people. And, you know, it's a long conversation that me and Thelma actually had last night, is about, you know, there's a lot of people out there who are just, you know, out for evidence or out for themselves or this or that, and, you know, how, you know, we're just trying to do the right thing.
Right. A lot of people are doing it for the right thing. A lot of people bash Paranormal State and Ryan Buell, Chip, and all those guys, but I can honestly say, when they helped me, they really were caring. They really wanted to do the right thing. They really wanted to help. And then when I was hurt in a fight in the bar, I was hurt bad, they came together and helped raise money for me. So, you know, we'll all help each other.
Yeah.
He became a little bit of a rock star later on, you know, but that's cool. He was always, you know, we always stayed in touch one way or another.
Yeah, I mean, I was just saying how it was crazy how, you know, their episode that aired from here was on their first season.
Yeah.
It was their 9th episode,
right.
Beer, Wine, and Spirits. And I remember watching that, and, you know, I wasn't big into, like, I was big into the paranormal field, but I wasn't a part of a group. And I'm like, I know that place. I'm like, that's Katie Donegan's.
Yeah.
I used to go to hardcore shows there.
That was great shows back then, yeah. GFY was my favorite band.
Yup.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
They were great, man.
I'll never forget those shows here.
Yeah.
We're GFY. You don't like us? GFY. Those guys, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. We can't do it anymore now, you know, since the renovations. But back then, who cared? They go nuts. And we had Roadkill doing the door, and, you know, it was just great. The wrestler, the ECW belt holder, he was my bouncer.
Wow.
Yeah, the Angry Amish Warrior. Yeah, we're still good friends. Then he went into the ECW, and he actually broke his neck.
Oh,
He has pins in his neck. So he's retired now, but he's still bouncing.
Right.
And he used to do all the hardcore shows. That was good times, man.
I know. I remember, I was young then too, but it's like
I used to go to
just going to shows. I'll never forget. I came here for a show, and it was Subterfuge, Domain, GFY, and a bunch of other bands, and I had a broken leg, and they were just like, "Yo, just hang out," and I was hanging over near where the stage was. I'm like, "Please, like, don't get hit."
Don't hit me.
I was just like, and I was like the hardcore kid who was always pitting, always doing this, and I'm just sitting there on my crutches like, "Oh man, please." But those are great times, and it's great to see that even from when I was a kid and come here just for shows, how the renovations went and everything, and how we were saying how beautiful the bar came out, and it really is a gorgeous place to come and hang out.
Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah, it came out good. It held up good.
So tell us a little bit about the history here.
All right, there's a lot of history. We feel that some of the darker stuff in the basement has to do with the hotel that used to stand here, the Trainers Hotel that burned down December 5th, 1909. So, and Charlie Klein, who was, everybody knows who Charlie is, was a bartender that killed himself. He didn't own Katie's, or he didn't work here, but he hung out here. It was a cigar store and also rumored to be a speakeasy. He owned the place next door, which was the Smithtown Hotel, and he killed himself there when he was arrested for serving during Prohibition. So we had a name Charlie years before there were any investigations, maybe 5 years. And then we found out that this guy lived across the street, and it was a bartender named Charlie Klein. He killed himself. So he's the guy that throws the glasses around and loves the women. But lately, we've been getting children, which is new. And we haven't had children, ghosts, but we're getting voices and pictures of a person with a Dutch boy haircut, male or female, is hard to tell in the pictures. And voices when we lock up saying "see ya" and "bye" and stuff like that when we're locking the door late at night.
That's crazy. We investigated here in November or so,
Right.
and like Carolyn was just saying, how every time we go to start an investigation, we do just like a pre-wrap, and hey, this is so and so, or we're investigating this place at this time. And Carolyn was saying, she's like, "Hi, this is Carolyn. We're at Katie's Bar in Smithtown." Said the date, and later on, when we're going back over the audio, she actually had heard a voice saying hi,
Like saying hello, like introducing itself to me as if I was introducing myself.
Yeah, that was only 2 minutes into the
That was
recording.
only, yeah.
Right, like you guys know Mike Taylor, right?
Yep.
Yeah, Mike Taylor got a great one. Right out of the gate, out of the investigation, was "I shall not be seen there." When he was explaining on the audio to his group about a camera that he has, something passes in front of it, a blue light will come on, and you hear a really crazy voice say, "I shall not be seen there." So they, right out of the gate, they're ready to go. It seems they trail off towards the end,
Right.
like they get fatigued or something.
and that's you actually had played that. I'll never forget. I was here. We had a huge party. It was the premiere of My Ghost Story.
Right.
Yeah, playing on the televisions. Brian was DJing, and between the commercials and this and that, you were playing a lot of like the EVPs and stuff like that. You played Mike Taylor's EVP, and that was the second or third time that I heard it. And I was like, every time I hear it, it's still just like one of those like that gets you. It's like you can hear it clear as day, and it's really interesting.
What's crazy about it, it has a pre-echo, which can't really be explained. Echoes on the end, but this has, so it's like a layer.
Right.
A layer, and that's what's really creepy about it.
Huh. And do you still get regular activity to this day?
The children or child, that's been more regular now. Don't know who it is or who they are, but that's a strange thing about this place is things change. Like that demon wolf face thing, right? You guys see that video? The demon wolf face video? That was getting really weird, and people were seeing it in reflective surfaces, and now it hasn't happened again.
Right.
So the cycles are really weird.
Yeah.
We haven't had a glass fly in a while, but people are starting to get grabbed or poked or touched again. Also, another thing that was happening recently, up until recently, was spider webs. People feel like they just walk through spider webs, and but that stopped. So it's just weird. Things keep changing. It's not always the same constant thing like it used to be.
Right.
I was actually at a bar one night, and I was wearing my SOP shirt, and the bouncer came up to me, and I was like, "Oh man, tell me he's gonna have a problem now." And he's like, "Listen," he goes, "Do you know Brian over at Katie's?" And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "I bounce her every now and then." And I was like, "Really?" He's like, "Yeah, I've been going there for a while." He pulls another bouncer over, and he's like, "Oh," he's like, "Tell him about your experience." And the guy was saying it was his first night bouncing here, and he was wearing like dress slacks, and he felt like someone just tugged on his leg. And it's funny because that wasn't the first time I've heard that claim from someone. I guarantee this guy does not even know.
Right.
And from coming here, I remember when I first got into the paranormal field, and me and Matt came down here. Chip was bartending, hanging out.
That's right. Chip coffee.
And
That's awesome.
we were sitting down. You were showing me a bunch of videos of glasses flying and then this and that, and then later on it got to the soda tap lifting up, which some stuff like that. It's when the first time you look at it, you're thinking like, well, it may have been twisted or it may have been this.
Yeah, sure.
And then how many times have you tried to debunk that and you're like, can't come up with that.
And then the mist flying away from it.
Yeah.
Which is
Right
so whatever. Yeah, soda guns can they're stiff, whatever, they could act like a spring, but then when you see the mist fly away, that's kind of weird. And it's not the first time it's happened, it was happening for a lot that was happening.
Right. Yeah.
So you believe in the paranormal? Like after all this, or are you still skeptical? Are you still on the fence?
Well, I still believe in stuff. Like I grew up, my mother's from Ireland, Irish ghost stories are bedtime stories. So I always heard these great ghost stories. I've always been very open to it. I've always been a magnet to it. I'm still a tough sell though. Usually when something happens here, I try to debunk it very hard myself.
Right.
Yeah.
And we have a lot of stuff on video that I won't even show because it's iffy.
Right.
We have a video of a pumpkin. On Halloween, we put pumpkins on the beer taps, and the pumpkin goes flying, and it looks like crazy. And we spent about an hour messing with this, trying to get it to recreate it. Same song. What song was playing?
Right.
Everything. Trying to do it, raising the volume. Everybody staying in the same place. Pound on the bar. We could not get it to work, and we kept watching the video. We noticed a guy 4 feet away ordered a drink, and while he's waiting for his drink, he just tapped the bar, waiting for his drink. And that was the sweet spot.
Right.
And when we went 4 feet away and we hit it like that, the pumpkin would fly off.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So when we went right around it, it didn't work.
Right.
But 4 feet away, for some reason, yeah. So I debunk a lot of stuff myself.
That's cool that you can do that. You're not one of those owners who are like, oh my god, it's immediately a ghost.
People come up to me all the time. They're showing me, look, I took this picture and all these orbs. I'm like, go nuts. I'm not saying that there ain't something to it. It's just like, yeah, well, this is what happens here. That's the way this place is. I got this, I got that. Right, great. But yeah, you're in the right place if you're looking for activity. But I don't know if you guys, did I tell you guys about that, again, with that kid with the Dutch boy haircut, went home with one of my bouncers?
No.
You told me about that story.
I told you.
I didn't hear this.
Yeah.
They would love to hear it on air now. That's crazy.
I have a bouncer named Al, and he's very, very sensitive, and he's not cool with it. And he's a giant man. He owned a gym, and he's an ex-police officer, and he's gigantic, and he's very, very sensitive, and they're closing up the bar. It's him, the bartender, and the bar back, and he's telling the staff that there's still people downstairs. I hear him talking, and they're like, "No, there's nobody downstairs. It's closed." And he keeps tilting his head. He's like, "You don't hear them talking? You don't hear the women talking?"
Yeah.
No, Al. Downstairs is closed. Now over the the door, the exit door, we have a monitor that shows downstairs and outside, so you could monitor the whole bar from one position. And they said, look, the lights are off, Al, there's nobody down there. And then he listens again, and all of a sudden he hears a woman's voice go, the big one can hear us. So he goes, I'm out of here. Screw this. Tell Brian, I don't know, I love him, but I don't know if I can work here anymore. I can't keep doing this. Like, and so he walks outside to leave, and he parks his truck across the street at school. And it was one of those winter days where it was like 60 degrees. So at night it was foggy. He walks right in front of an oncoming car. He goes, thank God the guy see me. He goes, I'm 9/11 NYPD terrorist trained, highly trained. I know how to cross the street. And I walked right in front of a car. That's how freaked out I was. I was just in another world. Try to shake it off, get in my truck, start it up. I gotta get the hell out of here. I gotta talk to Brian. I don't know if I can work here anymore. Put the truck in reverse, look in the rearview mirror, and a kid pops up out of the back seat. Locks eyes
the worst
with him.
nightmare.
That's
the worst.
It's a little blonde kid with Dutch boy haircut. Turns around, the kid's gone. Screw this, I gotta get home. So he's driving down the road, and he looks in the mirror. There's a state park down the road called Caleb State Smith Park.
Yeah.
All woods and stuff. He looks in the mirror, the kid pops up again. He goes, don't ask me why, it was something like out of a horror movie. I pull over in the woods, you know.
Yeah.
Not a good idea, but I pull over and I open up the back door and I go, get the hell out of my truck, go back to Katie's, go back wherever you came from, you can't come home with me. Shuts the door, he had a good feeling, he drives, keeps checking the mirror, no more kid. But he forgets where he lives. He only lives a couple miles away. He drives 5 miles past where he's got to turn until he comes to his senses and goes, what the hell am I doing? He finally gets back home, and he's got Rottweilers and Pit Bulls. Like I said, typical tough guy. Walks in the front door, his dogs are cowering, looking over his head. So that's just one of the things that, you know, he goes home with stuff all the time, TV on, off, lights on and off. So he's having a hard time. Also, we have another spirit that's joined us in the last 2 years. He's Hispanic. We know who he is, and because sensitive people see him all the time, standing on the right over there, and so I have a guy that could see, and he keeps going. He gets drunk. This guy's very sensitive. He has 3 Tanqueray and tonics, and he could see everything in here.
Wow.
Yeah, and he goes, "Can I curse? Can you curse?" And he goes, "Brian, why the fuck is there a Mexican ghost standing in your bar?" And I go, "What are you talking about?" He goes, "There's a fucking Mexican ghost standing right there." And I go, "I don't know." He goes, "This makes no sense." So then he looks at the guy, and then he looks out the front door, and he nods his head, and he said, "Did the guy get hit by a car out there about 7 years ago?" And I said, "Yeah. He got hit by a car and he died. We couldn't help him. Monday Night Football." He goes, "Well, he's standing right there." Okay. So I tell my bouncer this, the guy Al, and he goes, "You're not messing with me. You're not fucking with me, right? Because you know I'm not cool with this whole thing." I said, "No." He goes, "I see that guy cross the street every night I work at Katie's, and he never gets to the other side."
Wow.
Yeah, he got hit right under the bridge.
That's nuts.
Yeah. Yeah. So, so that's been crazy. And, like, people have been getting him.
Right.
And different things, like, you know, people come in, they do the Ouija board or whatever. I don't really care, right? You know, I don't know what the theories are with that, but people were getting Spanish. They didn't speak Spanish.
Yeah.
And then a girl goes, "I speak Spanish. I'm a probation officer. We have to speak Spanish." So she goes, "Oh, this guy's saying he's a florist and he got hit by a car."
Right.
And the guy was a florist. He worked down the road.
Wow.
Yeah. And they didn't know how to speak Spanish, so that's what was crazy about it.
Wow. That's wild.
Yeah. So so the Mexican dude, and then I just found out that some of the local police were in here drinking, and I asked them about that thing, and they said they had a report. They were on their way to the area because he was walking in and out of traffic, and one of the sensitive people told me that he wanted to go, and then the police actually backed that up.
Right.
Like he was trying to get hit by a car,
Right.
but they got here too late. So he's kind of newer. Did you hear the chair creak over there?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the
Yeah,
chair.
right, if you-
That's the
just
chair
heard
they
it.
sit down in.
Right.
Lately, and usually the second one
from the end.
From the end, right? And they sit in that chair, and they actually they'll get impatient and tap their fingers like they're waiting for a drink, and we'll give them a beer.
Nice.
You actually set a beer out?
Yeah, and they don't drink it. I'd love to say, oh, you know, and then the next
just
day
gets
it's gone. But no, it's not.
Yeah, it just starts draining out.
Hell, I'd stay here.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, that doesn't happen.
But that was also like, I remember we were down here hanging out just randomly, and it was a night that they were actually filming you and Dominique doing the interior shots, all the B-roll stuff
Right.
for My Ghost Story. And one of the people that we had investigated with back then was standing at the bar, and he's holding, a $10 bill, a $20 bill in his hand, and there's a few singles in front of him that someone else prior had left as a tip, and the bills had moved over about a foot.
Right.
And he's like, he's putting his hand there. He's like, "Is this the air? Is this And he's like, "I can't explain it." And one of the guys that was with Lincoln, who was the cameraman who was filming here, was just like, "You got a personal experience, right? You got it?" He's like, sign this paper. We're gonna get you on camera." And he's like, he ended up having to shoot. Obviously it didn't, didn't go in the episode, but it was just like, just while hanging out here, we were here 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And,
Wasn't that the night that, I think, George was standing here, and he said that he felt like he was standing right over here, and he got pushed.
Over to the column, yep.
Because he said he was standing there, and all of a sudden he, not like just pushed, but like he fell forward. Like something pushed him, and he turned around and nobody's there. And I saw him standing there, and it looked like he got jolted forward. That was the same night, yep.
It's just, it's just interesting. A place with Long Island is filled with history. And there's just so many different things that have, gone on over the years. And, I remember just researching this place and trying to look up some different things. And I'm sitting there and I'm reading, claims, and I'm reading, debunkings and this and that. And there's certain things that still, even after investigating for a few years, I can't debunk. Watching some of the videos that you have here.
Yeah, some of them you can't debunk. Some of them, you can go, well, maybe it was this, maybe it was that. Right, some stuff you could, but the voices, that's tough. Voices that people have heard. As different people have, heard as they're locking the door and leaving. That's kind of hard to explain. I heard a woman crying from downstairs some years ago. I don't know what that was, So some stuff is very hard to explain.
How long have you owned the bar?
13 years.
13 years?
Almost. So January, late December will be 13 years.
Nice.
So we're getting there. Yeah, so I don't know, but I was, something told me to come here because I was driving somewhere else. And then I'm in a turning lane, turn signals on, and then something just said, "Go see your friend Rich at that bar. He's not doing well." And then, "Oh yeah, let me go see Rich." And I went back on the highway and I drove here. And my friend Rich owned it, and we weren't super close. But I walked in the front door, and he was like, kind of pouting in his own hands at the bar. And I said, "Rich, what's up?" And he said, "Brian, is that you?" And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "We gotta go to the diner and talk." And here I am.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
It was meant to be.
Yeah. Something told me to come here. So that's why I think I got all different stuff going on here, good and bad, or darker, and people that wanted me here. So
I think it's more of like a, hey, pay attention to me, we're here.
Yeah, but there's some dark stuff downstairs. I don't know what that is. That's what I really want to know what it is, by the pool table.
Right.
There wasn't always a pool table down there, though, when I had the out-of-body experience and stuff like that. That was crazy.
Can you go into that more?
Sure. You guys know that story?
Yeah.
Okay.
For our listeners.
Your listeners don't know it? Okay.
I've heard a little bit of it.
Okay, it's a good story. But it really happened. I never had anything like that before or since, but except sleep paralysis. But I used to nap here all the time because I live far away than I do now. So I used to have a couch downstairs, and I used to take little cat naps. And the place was such a mess when I got it for the first few years that I used to work so much, so I used to try to take little naps. And so I would sleep on the couch at one part of the building, and 3 times I had sleep paralysis. I woke up, I couldn't move, I felt heavy pressure on my chest, like somebody was pushing on my chest. Couldn't breathe, my eyes were closed, but I could see through my eyelids. It was really spooky. And I remember having that as a little kid, like nightmares. You try to scream for your parents and nothing comes out, you can't yell. It was a little terrifying as a little boy, but as an adult it's never happened to me. It doesn't happen to as many adults as little children. But then I felt something spiritually, like something was really fucking with me, like, and I'm not a religious person, whether like messing with my soul. I don't know a better word for it, but like something internally was really screwing with me, my soul, wanted my soul or something like that. But I felt it wasn't right. And they say you're not supposed to challenge them or whatever, but that's all I understand sometimes, so I called it a pussy, because it was fucking with me in my sleep.
Yeah.
And the only words I could get out was calling it like a pussy. Pussy, you screw with me in my sleep. What the hell's wrong with you? You know, I'll kick your ass, whatever I could think of. And it let me go. So it happened 2 more times. I did the same thing and it let me go. And I said, whatever's going on in this part of the building ain't right. So I moved the couch to where the pool table is now, not knowing that's the Disneyland of the spiritual world here. So I moved it to the really crazy part. You know, I went from bad to worse. So I woke up feeling refreshed. I swing my legs over to put on my boots, and I look back and my body's still sleeping. I'm sitting in my own torso. So I'm looking around, everything has like a yellow or a tint to it, a little smoky. And I'm going, holy shit, I'm having one of those out-of-body experiences I heard about. This is pretty cool. And I'm kind of digging it, looking around the room. And I'm not afraid at all. I'm looking at myself sleeping on the couch. And then all of a sudden, my dead dog comes walking down the stairs. And I put him down because he had cancer and he was old and he was sick and he looks great. And he runs up to me and he's jumping all over me and we're playing. Now, I know it's a dream, but I don't care because I miss my dog. So I'm getting to play with my dog. And we're having a good time, and then he starts doing that doggy thing where, come on, let's go. Like, you know, they run back and forth, like they want to go out or they want to eat. So he's doing that thing, and I'm going, I'm not leaving. I'm staying right here. My body's here. I'm not going anywhere. Come here. And he would come back, and we would play. And then after a while, he would do the doggy thing. Yeah, come on, let's go up the stairs. Let's go. And I wouldn't go. And I start getting a weird feeling after like the 3rd or 4th time. Oh, come here. And I decide I have to test him. So I tell him, sit down. He sits down. He's looking up at me, and I go, do the trick. We had a trick. Not many people know what the trick is. Maybe 4 or 5 people know what this trick is. And he didn't know the trick. So then, all right, you're not my dog.
Yeah.
Something's in my head, knows what I miss, and is trying to get me away from my body.
Yeah.
He takes off. Now I'm sitting there going, I'm fucked. Because whatever state I'm in, this thing knows what I miss, and I'm vulnerable. So I either got to wake up or go back to sleep. I don't know what to do, so I decided to lay back down and try to go to sleep. It's the best thing I could do. So I lay back down, and it's 1,000 times worse than when the couch was on the other part. I'm like in a vice. This thing is squeezing the life out of me. The air's rushing from my lungs. I try to cover my eyes with my hands. I can see through my eyelids. I can see through my hands. I can't block the room out. I'm running out of air. And then, like a flash, I could see tomorrow's newspaper. I could read every word. It says, bar owner dies in his sleep. And it gives me all the details of how hard I worked. And I was found on a couch, dead. So then, as I'm going under, I accept it. And I tell whoever's doing this to me, all right, I'm gone. You're killing me. I accept it. But the first thing I do is when I get to wherever I'm going, is I'm coming looking for you, and I'm going to kick your ass all over spirit world for eternity. I'm going to get to the pearly gates, St. Peter. Thanks for letting me in. I got to go take care of something, and your ass is mine. And it let me go. I got the hell out of there, and I called up my friend, and we threw out the couch, and I'll never sleep down there again.
Wow.
So whatever that is, I don't know what that is, but that was scary. So that little thing, whatever that is down there, and some people, you know, I've met 1,000 psychics and mediums.
Yeah. Right.
And there's a handful that I'll listen to what they have to say. And a few of them have come up with the same thing or a similar thing. Dutch murderer, Indian stuff. So kind of crazy. I don't know who it is.
Right. See, the hard part is, with all the psychics, and a lot of them is they know the area, they heard the story.
Well, yeah, this is is before that, though.
Yeah, all right.
Like that happened to me before the TV show.
Yes. Right.
Yeah.
So, a lot of people who said certain things, there was no history, there was nothing. It was like this place was just that place is cursed. People have been saying this place is cursed for 30 years.
Yeah.
No business will ever do any good. That place is cursed. It's doomed. There's a black cloud over it. So I experienced the doomed dark cloud.
Yeah.
Then everything blew up, and that's the bad part of this is that there's only really the only bad part is now when you want to research Katie's, you find all the stuff that was already on TV and all the stories. So you got to go through pages and pages of stuff, and it sucks.
Right.
But back then when you looked into stuff, you found really cool stuff like that. Charlie Klein lived across the street. Like that was great. We didn't expect that. So and then in the early days, some guy found a couple things online that there might have been a hospital here at one time before the hotel, like Revolutionary War or something like that. That's a lot of pain and suffering.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And now you got to dig through 1,000 pages to maybe find that again. Right. So it sucks.
What about going to like town hall or something?
Oh yeah, we exhausted pretty much everything. But what's happening now? It's really great. Is the public libraries are putting all the databases together. So they're just every day they're scanning stuff and putting it on hard drives. So you don't have to go. This library, we went through everything they have, but then there's Huntington and there's all these surrounding areas because they didn't all the towns didn't always have newspapers. So if something happened here, it might be from 2 towns over in their newspaper. So they're starting to put this stuff online, which is great. So we're find more and more stuff. Like we found that Charlie Klein, who killed himself, actually used to help the feds in sting operations, and they're the guys who ended up arresting him.
Wow.
Yeah. So he helped because there were no radios, there weren't a lot of telephones, so guys used to get big shiny black cars and pretend that they were police officers or prohibition officers or feds, and they used to go shake down bar owners that were serving. And they weren't, they were just criminals. So he helped put some of these guys in jail. And then they came back and arrested him years later. In fact, one of the guys that they put in jail, he did his time, he was a bad criminal. He got out of jail and killed himself. I gotta find out his name again. Yeah, see if he's coming here.
Yeah.
This was also a real estate office at one time too, and that guy was murdered. He was found murdered in a lake. He supposedly owed the mob all kinds of money.
It's amazing the amount of history here itself, because that's like even that night with the airing of my ghost story. I was down here with Renee and Vanessa, and I'm watching, the episode, and I'm like, all right, I've heard that from being here with you, and then when you started going through the story that you just told us, obviously in the episode was like the Cliff Notes version. It was laying down and the headline, and I'm like sitting there thinking to myself like, holy shit, like I didn't know that. And then it's like checking out the basement, we had investigated down there, and I remember. For those who are listening, when you walk down the basement, there's along the wall there's like benches. So I was sitting down at the bench, and across straight ahead of me is another bar down there, and to the right there's a room. The door was closed, and the light was on inside that room, and across from that room is the pool table, and I'm looking at the floor, and I keep seeing somebody like pacing back and forth. So
like
I look
through the light,
through the light.
Yeah.
And I look at Phil, and I'm like, "Yo, Phil, do you see that?" And we were actually in the middle of an EVP session, and it just looked like someone was pacing back and forth, waiting. So I ended up walking over there, opening the door, no one in there. we, all different types of meters, checking everything out. I come upstairs and I talk to Dominique, and I was like, listen, I feel like there's someone pacing back and forth. She's like, yeah, they're down there with you. They're just hanging out. Then they're just curious. Right. And that's what it seems like, because like we started an EVP session, and for the first 5 or 6 minutes we had a flashlight that was there, trying to see if they would communicate through the flashlight, maybe try to turn it on, turn it off. And first few minutes, absolutely nothing. And then it was, while we're asking questions, it just so happened that it was corresponding exactly to how the flashlight, the flashlight was going on.
And it wasn't even like it was going on or off. It was like, can you dim it down a bit? And it
can you dim it down a little bit? Can you go a little bit lower?
And
then it would start going lower. Can you make it really bright? And it would just go fully up. And
it wasn't one of those dimming flashlights. Was it one of the dimming ones, or was it the clicker? I don't remember.
It had the button on it.
It had the button on it, so you couldn't
we just unscrewed it.
Yeah.
So to the point where the battery was just not touching enough to set the light on.
So it would be easier for anyone.
But I mean, this place has so much history, has so much paranormal history, and it's awesome that it was able to be featured on a few shows. Brian does come and hold events very often. You guys can also come down here. We were down here on a Wednesday night, and we were talking to Mike, who was always down here, and he was telling us about some experience that he had down here too, while closing the bar for the night or whatever, just hanging out. And it's incredible how there's so many people that have come here and that have came up to us or emailed us. Right. There's a gentleman who him and his daughter have investigated here many times and have gotten a lot of experiences and a lot of activity here. And it's all different people and at all different times. A lot of times it is late at night, but what do you say the most activity that you've caught?
Oh, all times. It doesn't matter. We've had people walking around up here in the daytime when we're working downstairs. We hear footsteps, and it, broad daylight, boom, boom, boom. You hear them. And a guy working with me says, "Somebody's upstairs. Somebody must have walked in." I goes, "Nobody." He goes, "Get the hell out of here." And he had that look.
Right.
Yeah.
And he's like, "You messing with me? Somebody's upstairs." I go, "Go ahead, go up there." He's like, "You don't hear that?" "Oh, I hear it." And he came up and there was nobody here, so he's pretty freaked out about working downstairs with me now. But that happens. Yeah, so all times. But yeah, late night when you close and you hear them either, I don't know if they're getting in the chair or getting up out of the chair, but you hear the chair creak.
Right.
If someone's getting in or out of the chair. And it's nice having really, good sensitive people, and when they don't know each other and it's something new and they both see something similar, like the Latino guy,
right.
Or the child, that's pretty new. And the demon face thing came and went. So no one's seen that in a while, but there were a lot of people seeing it for a while. The floor and the reflective surfaces and the mirrors. So I don't know what the theories are with that.
Right.
I mean, that's also like a type of matrix thing too, in a way.
I don't know.
Like when you look at something, like when you look at a cloud or something, and you see a bunny or you see a ship. People do tend to see images in reflective surfaces, mirrors. That's kind of hard to even because it could have been possible that these people were seeing the same image. But in just my opinion, it's very touchy.
Did you see the video?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty badass.
It's hard to debunk.
I know.
Because we have other videos with the same, never get that same reflection.
Right.
It looks like two of them to me. It seems like one's facing you, talking behind the one that's at the profile.
Right.
And when Dominique reaches up to the glass, which you can't see from the video on there, but when she reaches up to show people where the glass came from, his pupil opens up.
Really?
Yeah. So that's that. I have that on the raw footage. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't see that one.
But yeah, it's crazy
I
because
didn't see that.
it seems like every time I come down here, and I get to see Brian, it's like, yeah, I added 8 more files to the folder, and I got this and I got that. It's just like it's amazing how, and like you said, you don't take everything in as, you know, a lot of it you're just like, no, you know what, it could be this, could be that. It's
and if we're busy, I don't even go back and grab it anymore. We have enough.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, people say this. You know, the bartenders write down the times and stuff, and a lot of it goes in the trash.
Right.
It's just a lot of work to go back and look at this stuff and then save it, and you know, it's a lot. My DVR is not state of the art.
Right.
You know, so it's a kind of like it's old piece of metal, and you know, if I had a new one, it'd be much easier.
Yeah.
But I don't even. A lot of times we don't even bother. Like, oh, wow, that was cool. Okay, all right, let's go back to trying to pay the bills.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So, but I mean, it was interesting because, you know, especially coming down here, getting to see the place, getting to see, you know, different people, and it seems like almost every time we come down here, we learn new stories of the place.
Yeah.
We learn, you know, hey, you know, Chris, talk to this person, or hey, Ryan, grab that person. Let's talk, you know. And when we were in March, we went to Gettysburg to Phenomenology, and we were hanging out. It was me and George, one of the members of SLP. We're hanging out with Chip Coffee, and he's like, Chris, he's like, when are you going to invite me to Long Island? He goes, I miss Katie's. We got to go back to Katie's.
Yeah.
So I said to him, I'm like, dude, anytime, come back, grab your scarf, and start bartending.
Yeah, we'll try to put something together. I've been talking with, you know, Chip and his management, and they do miss coming here and hanging out.
Yeah.
But it's tough for him, you know. If he has a New York City gig, then maybe we can get him out here. But sometimes they make him maybe sign an agreement that he can't do something within like 60 miles, and that, you know, we just make that. So some of the stuff's been a little hard getting Chip back, but he wants to come back, and we stay in touch. And when he's in the city, I usually go meet him and his crew for dinner or lunch. Nice. We hang out. Yeah. In fact, last year I met him, and he was with a bunch of people from like Ghost Hunters. Yeah. And some other shows too. So it was nice getting to meet all them. Right. And then the A&E people were there, and they're like, "Oh, Brian, great to see you." You know, because my episode did really well, and people talk about it, and they said, "Look, you know, don't disrespect, but Katie's kind of old news. You know, we're looking for fresh stuff."
Right.
I understand. So Chip was doing an event at a church, and there was a few hundred people there, and people were standing in line to talk to me. And the A&E people went, "Let's talk at dinner."
Right.
Because this kind of blew us away.
Right.
So, you know, things are up in the air. I mean, I'm still on the radar.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Now, I don't really care about more TV shows or whatever. It was a great experience. Like, we were supposed to do something with Ghost Hunters. I don't even know if I've ever seen a show, you know. Same thing with Paranormal State. Maybe I've seen 2 or 3 episodes. I seen my episode. I love the episode with the little kid, Timmy and Matthew. Yeah. I love that. That's like that was awesome. But Ghost Hunters, yeah, I'm not really familiar that much. But they were supposed to come here. The contracts were signed, everything was inked, and then the producer left the show. There was some kind of drama or something. Somebody left the show, and the producer left the show. He's on Auction Hunters now, which is the #1 show on. Yeah, so she sent me an apology letter, and he's a very nice guy. But he's on Auction Hunters now, so they don't need kids.
Right.
Yeah.
And the new producer was like, wanted to do his own thing, so we'll see. And somebody left that show, right?
Yeah.
Grant.
Okay.
One of the founders.
Yeah. So where's he now?
He's doing his own thing. He stopped. Well, he still will investigate.
Yeah.
But not on any show.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He's promoting some like board game or some video.
Oh, yeah.
And then he also he's in a band, so he's been traveling and making music with his band.
Yeah. All right. Well, him and the producer left at the same time, so there must have been some kind of drama somewhere.
Right.
And I just missed it, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
But I was like, they said, "What do you think?" I said, "You guys be ready, because you're gonna have a good time."
Right.
Because even when Paranormal State came, they were supposed to be here for 2 days,
right,
and they were here for 4.
Right.
Because stuff just kept happening.
It's crazy.
Then they were supposed to come back. You know, they're supposed to revisit, and that was the big buzz. And it just never happened.
Right.
They got hooked up with a new director and whatever, and I'm not a big fan. Well, yeah, but the initial crew were just wonderful people for the first couple of seasons.
Yeah.
Beautiful people. I got to meet a lot of people through them.
Yeah.
That's good. Well, guys who are listening in the chat and everything, we're actually going to wrap it up here on the show. We're still going to stay here and talk to Brian.
Yeah.
'Cause there's still a bunch of stuff that we're going to be going over.
You should be here.
But just want to give another shout out. In the chat room is Thelma and Noah. So want to say hi to you guys. And like we had mentioned previously, when we first started the show, Sunday, September 16th, come down to Katie's Bar. It starts at 3 o'clock. Hope Matters. It's a cancer benefit. And, it's going to be a great cause. There's going to be a lot of people down here. We're donating a basket. Don't worry, Thelma. I'm going to give it to Brian.
It's here.
It's
here
already. It's sitting there right on the table. Yeah. So, if anyone wants to donate who's listening to the chat room and anything, give us a shout, and I'll tell you guys how you can donate.
Yeah.
Thank you guys. Have a heart, and we'll talk to you guys soon.
Yeah,
thank you. See you guys.
Bye.